Walk with me. The way I carry this weight graceful is so different. Cause my path and your path is so different. And they ain't never the same things, it's so shifting. Gotta adjust so much, feel like I'm cold shifting. When you ain't gaining no ground, the pain ain't around. It's only when you trying to be great, they tearing you down. Got a hindsight of these snakes, they properly found. And I ain't boxing in the dirt with you. I let that metal get a hearse for you. I'm condescending, got a verse for you. Whatever it takes, I display the world through you. Ain't got enough time to explain the world to you. All I can do is make your skin tougher. Gonna be some hard times, cause men struggle. Especially when you trying to move, the devil send for you. That's why I always play the groove, but I ain't dance for you. I keep both of my hands clean, I put a band on. I season beef before I cook while I stand over. Your poker face telling it all, yeah, the scam's over. And I ain't never been victimized, so I can't coach you through a victim's eyes. All I can show you is my village planted seeds, then it grew, now I visualize. So the struggles I go through, it ain't a curse, it's a gift from God. And I've been grateful with having nothing and I'm still alive. If I ain't never told the truth, I guess it's just a lie. If I ain't never told the truth, I guess it's just a lie. I guess I'm made for this grit, but shit is still a lie. And I
Yeah,
can't give you the whole thing, I conceal a lie. I put these glasses on in the storm, it revealed the plot. And show my enemies from afar like I'm at the dock. I know it's deeper than you thought, but what ocean is not. If I ain't never told the truth, I guess it's just a lie. If I ain't never told the truth, I guess it's just a lie.
Shout out to the homies up, man. That might be the theme music for this mental health portion of the podcast when I do it. So what's going on, everybody? Just definitely want to just keep hitting you guys for content and just keep on this mental health train because it's been really good. Got a lot of good feedback out of the first stream, and once again, healing, right? Healing, um, just what it does. What people don't understand. With the ability to reach out to others does. A lot of people, salute to public speakers, pastors, internet influencers, and things like that, who all take the time and have the ability to want to reach out, right? To reach out to others and express their truths and put their truths out there to everybody. And it takes a lot of courage. Um, and it does. So tonight, one thing as I was just sitting here, just thinking topics, and there's so many different range when we get into the mental health thing. Um, I thought to myself is what does what is happiness, right? What is truly happiness in this when what does happiness for a man look like uh on the surface? Like is seeing a person smiling all the time is on the surface, if you see a person that's always smiling, happy, laughing, is that person really at the ultimate joy in life, or is it that person's way of just coping? A lot of times we may see, you see those different mental health ads, and it's like, who's the person suffering the most? I remember I seen a commercial. It was two people at a soccer game, and it was a guy sitting there with this very bland, dull looking expression on his face. And then next to him was a guy that was like, yeah, yeah, go to happy, and sitting there laughing, and every time they kept showing that thing. And one day, because it was like the guy always went to the games and he was always really a super extrovert. uh, about when he was at the games, and then one day you look over that same guy who had that bland look on his face, who a lot of us would just say that he has a mental, he's depressed or whatever, and then you look to the right of him and you notice that guy that was always there, that was super happy to be at the games, he wasn't there no more. It was a message in it. It was saying that, like, the person you think's the happiest and the most going and most lively, you never know what that person's going through. Um, and then I also think about the people who, people I've encountered in my life who's always been like super motivational, super like energetic, and like, let's do this, let's do that, and come on, man, you got to do it, and encouraging. And those people are usually the people that are want that they want to boost energy around them and the people around them, because that may help them. And a lot of times I I've myself been like that. I just like a good zen and a good vibe of energy. I hate negative Nancy's. I hate somebody that said, "Nah, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. We ain't. How we gonna do this? How that gonna work? Nah, I think that's gonna be stupid." Like, I can't stand that, because that takes when you take away when people always are over calculating how something's not going to go right. That takes away from the possibility of things going right, and and when it comes to far as our mental health, positivity is the key to maintaining the storm. Positivity is the key to maintaining the storm that's constantly brewing in us. And so, some people are just and let's just face it, like with the drug industry, it's tons of stuff out there that keeps try to keep us up there, leveled out, level happy. You can call them what you want, happy pills, all that. It's tons of that. It's so many commercials that talk about depression and this, that, and the other, and stuff like that. And I can truly say the need for it has really escalated up, and it's went up. And I think it's got crazier since I'm gonna be 100% truthful. It's got crazier since social media. Social media, mental health go hand in hand. Depression and all that go hand in hand, because people will completely end it on this here social media. You know what I'm saying? Completely. You know, mental health is important daily. Medicine ain't for everyone, but it helps. True. True, Rico. True. Um, no, it's not. And the thing about it is, you got to understand, when the medicine stops, when the medicine stops, and people can't, what happens when that's not there? What I mean, it truly, that's what one thing about it is, what things do we have to do mentally with ourselves to really keep ourselves grounded? And when I'm saying, like, I'm a spiritual person, I was raised in a spiritual household. My grandparents, sent us to church all the time, and the thing about it, and we were taught, we lean heavy on God. We lean heavy on God, and that's a big thing, that we need to always do when things get dark. I mean, we always look at it as the enemy. The enemy is what wants to take us out. And I was always taught that whenever something is really invading my space mentally, I was always taught it's the enemy. The enemy wants to destroy you. Uh and this is many different phases. You know, The enemy, it could be anything like getting up and dealing with a meeting you went into, and somebody tried to vex you a certain way, and it's like, what that's because of. Sometimes the enemy wants to detour your attitude. You ever and you ever, in me, like I said, working in corporate with me, I've always had to deal with the it's crazy, right? It's a tricky question. When somebody asks you, "How are you doing today?" in in the corporate game, to me, how many times I've been put in the blender, I've always looked at it like, hmm, I think that's a trick question. Because if I tell you I'm doing great, like I'm having a super fantastic day, I'm looking at it like, now you trying to kill it. Okay, well, I'm looking, and that's how I look at it. Like, well, this is a trick question, and and so it's a mental game, and as a man, staying on top of it, and just understanding where we're at and where to meet us at, us just being full scale in the know of how to deal with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just how to deal with ourselves when we're struggling. Um, I always tell people, um, go to your go to your sources that know you the best. Whenever you're not feeling in the right headspace, you got to go to the things and the people that you trust and that know you better than anyone. And the people that you can be completely vulnerable with, it's okay. And a lot of times, that's people like our mama, our wives, even our kids. Like me and my daughter, you know, my daughter will be 27 here in about 15 days. Me and her will get on the phone and just chop it up and talk. And and you know, and a lot of times it be her, Dad, I just need to talk to you about some stuff. I just want to talk. And she needs the dad speech. And I am so happy in my life that as a father, and oh, by the way, I just was on the texting with my son, and he just turned 14, and he needed some advice. He's at that stage, and he wanted some fatherly advice on some girl issues he was having, whatever. But you know what I mean? And it felt good. And my son's he's the new age, so he don't want to talk. I couldn't talk to him about it. I wanted to talk, but he's like, Dad, I ain't good with that talk stuff. So it was a text conversation. And but it made me feel good. It made me feel good that mentally, all of us, with my kids, they are available to talk about their problems, talk their issues out, because that's important. As men, women, we got to be able to talk about what's wrong with us. Too many times where things come up short and things happen to people because they didn't know how to talk about things. They didn't have nobody to talk to. So we're going to go back, as Rico was talking about, with the blue app, with social media. It's because sometimes people don't have nobody to talk to. So we talk to Facebook. We talk to Facebook, and Facebook is full of everything. It's full of love. It's full of counseling. It's full of gratitude. It's full of compassion, sympathy, empathy. It got everything you need, and it also got like some some like aunties and uncles that'll tell you the truth about yourself. Like it's got everything. Facebook has everything. It's got some, what I mean? It's got some mamas and daddies for those who can't talk to their mamas and daddies no more. It's got all that type of feedback in one social platform. I truly can say when Mark Zuckerberg invented this here app, it's right, it's a social network. It's a social network. So everything that happens on here, people be like, ah man, they're just going on Facebook. Blah, blah, blah. It's a social network. That's what it's for. A lot of times people, somebody had said some things about some social media stuff going on. They was like, well, people always get mad because people always asking about these two people on social media. Well, they choose to publicize their whole life on social media. So why is everybody mad? Because somebody's including their opinion about it. It's a social network. That's what happens. That's what social media is about. But going back to talking about getting back into the mental health thing I was talking about was being able to talk to somebody about it. And I am fortunate enough, to have, my mother, my wife, my kids that I can just whenever I'm just things are heavy on me, I can talk about it. Now, another thing I want to discuss is in mental health and what we have as men, like when do we get to the point where we feel we need to go see like a psychologist or we need to like go get maybe some expert opinion about why we feel in the way we feel? Like when does that happen? Or or do we want to even bring that type of thing on? And I know as a black man, like that's something that that's something that we really like struggle with. We don't want to, and as a man, we hate it because I feel like when we are quick to put a label on us, then it's almost like we going around asking for charity because of how we are. You know, if I sit there and when somebody says I'm bipolar, I nope, not I'm bipolar. It's true, Jer, true, Jer. I dodge him. I like that. You know, when somebody says, try to say, well, I've been diagnosed, or I diagnosed with this, I diagnosed with that. Um, you know, I I just really think it's just a part of the mental health battle. Moods, moods, swings. I tell my wife all the time, like, I'm so quick to notice when something's wrong with me, and I'll call it out. I'll be like, I don't like the way I feel. I don't like man. Like one day I'm like, so my wife said this, and it was funny, and she kind of ain't lying. She said, boy, I tell you one thing that'll change your attitude and get you chip it up and all that. She said, let some money come. She said, let you get a cash app or a check come or when a check hit or direct deposit hit or some money just come in your like, boy, you pop right up. And I said, my mom say that about me too. And and I said, yeah. It's and I don't and that just goes to show you that I like money. And it just feeling I don't know, it's just a part of the charge, right? That makes you because security, because like okay, I'm up. I'm far away from having to struggle. And so, an extra up 500 here, 1,000 here, or whatever. It's just like, whew, okay, I'm okay, and that makes you feel good. So more and more opportunities. So when you got more things going, and me, I have a hustler spirit. So like I'm constantly trying to figure ways to go, and it motivates me. And yeah, so money's a people always say money is the motivation. Money is a motivator, but sometimes it don't matter about money. It don't matter about none of that. When you get to going to them dark places, can't nothing fix it. So that's where the trying to acknowledge what your issue is important. But never try to put a label on it to say I've been diagnosed with bipolar disorder or I'm diagnosed ADHD. Um, my wife talks crap about me all the time because I ain't gonna lie, like I get super like go here, go here, go here, and my wife she loves to call it out when in the moment when I'm doing it. She'd be like, I'll be like, okay, I'm doing this, and then I'm like, wait, I gotta do this. She'd be like ADHD. She just calls it out right then and there. She's like, see, ADHD. I'm like, shut, like, and I think so those titles and stuff. I think they try to. I don't like to do it because it creates a sympathetic approach to how we are. So I like Jared said, we try to dodge them and stay away from them, but we more or less try to work on the things that make us feel better. Because me myself, I tell people all the time, what helps me from a mental health standpoint is is to being the ability to be active. Um, so I'm gonna tell you guys a story. Like and then I'm gonna tell you how mentally how things can happen, and it's so many stages of mental health and things that people go through. It's like I was a food service director. I worked in a prison for 6 7 years. Food service director in the prisons, and my level of at work, right, the level of mental overload I dealt with at work every day. Well, first off, like going in there not knowing if you know you're going to get out of there on time. It could be an 8 hour day turn into a 15 hour day, and the day's just crazy because you're in a institution with a cased up and people that's locked up and they're not they're not out in normal society like you. And what happens is from a mental standpoint is the longer you work in those industries, you actually end up doing the time yourself with them because you're sharing their pain. A lot of people who work in prison industries, it's like one of the things they always say amongst each other, like if they used to work in it, they say, how much time did you do? And it's like, and that's the thing to saying, like, yeah, I was, because you got to understand, just like every day an inmate wakes up and does his routine in this facility, you in there working every day in that facility, and sometimes right around them side by side, whatever. So you kind of share that. But anyway, I had a year, right? I had a crazy year. It was it was a crazy year for me. It was a year of, you know, it was it was a while back, going through first divorce ever, stressed on that, dealing with problems, having to separate, from my child, my son, um, then being at work, right? And then, having a big position in charge of everything, trying to take on everything, and then also having a chip on my shoulder, trying to prove to everybody like I can do this. You know, um, a lot was on me. You know what I mean? A lot was on me. Was going through financial issues and stuff like that. But me, I'm just going to work. I'm just going to work. And I would whatever they threw at me, I would deal with. 15 hour day. I would go in there. I would wake up and my best friend LaShawn Fuller can contest to this because um I would I would wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning because I would have to go in at 4 4:30. And I would go in there and I would stay from 4 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't get out of there till like 6 p.m. So it was just, and I did that every day. Now, mind you, I've always liked to keep a home that was way bigger than what I needed. I liked it to be comfortable. I liked it plenty of size and space because, I like my TVs. I like my big screen TVs and all that stuff. And it's just something I got used to. And that was comfortability. I like things to be wherever I was at. Now, mind you, I would go to work every day and do the same thing. Sometimes I work 6 days a week. and I would have a day off. But when I would have a day off, um, usually I'll get my son, and he would just come over and sit there and look. We just look. He'll look crazy with me because it was just like my mind. Like I would go to work every day and come home, right, and just sit there in the chair and just look at the TV and just like and or this would be worse. I had a like nice couch, nice living room setup, and all that stuff. Because when you first move into a new home and it's a bachelor pad and all that, you be thinking like, yes, I'm gonna invite my friends over. We're gonna kick it. I'm gonna barbecue. It's just gonna be the spot. No, this spot was a dungeon to me. It was a depression era. I would come home after dealing with everything I dealt with at work, and you know what I'm saying, and then she would be like, I would be like, not she. I'm trying to cross conversations. My son just texted me, but I would come home and then I would just sit there and not do anything. And a lot of times I would be in my living room, right? And then I would just be up. And next thing you know, what from being in my living room that I paid all this money for, all this nice couch, nice TV, and nice setup, and expensive time Spectrum cable that I barely would use because I always streamed. And next thing I know, I didn't even use the downstairs. The downstairs just was like you know a display room. When I would come home, I would go straight upstairs in my room and get right in my bed and put it on my what they call your sleep shows, or your shows that's mentally soothing to your brain to sleep. And I still have those shows. My favorite thing is Stranger Things right now. You know, that's my favorite thing right now. It's Stranger Things, and that's what I watch. And so what I would do is just come home and just lay in the bed every time. I would wake up and go do it again. Wake up and go back to work. And then when I would get to work, I was alive. I was like, whoa, what's going on? My personality came back, but then I would get back home, it would be back, whatever. You know, same thing over and over again. And I didn't understand it. Like, why do I keep I would be up in that room, door shut. Don't nobody else stay in this house. Why am I shutting my door? Who's bothering me? Or what am I scared of? I mean, you know, I as a kid, I've definitely was scared of, big scaredy cat. But I don't know, it was the point when I got older in life where it was just like I got used to staying alone, and I didn't really, a lot of things didn't scare me anymore because I had went through so many things throughout my life that were real scary, and I survived them and I got through them, and it's like you kind of develop that like I didn't seen it, I didn't seen the worst, so you don't. It is what it is. Um, but I would do it all the time. I'm like, and then the baddest part about this when it comes to mental health is when you're struggling, right? When you're struggling to figure out why you keep doing something, it's like it's because when the complacency sets in about something you do and it makes you feel normal, that's where it feels right. So it felt right for every day when I came home from work from dealing with whatever I dealt with to go in my room, shut the door, and get in the bed and just, you know. And my mom always would tell me, like, Ryan, you're the king of shutting it down. She said, because when you shut things down, you don't play. Like, you ain't answering no phone, you ain't, and I don't. And she said, that's one thing about you. You don't, when you shut it down, you shut it down. And I didn't like that. I'm like, I used to tell myself, like, come on, Ryan, do something. Like, come on, man. And I swear that I did that for like a year. That same routine. I end up finally when I actually left the company, I left the company because mentally I really needed to get myself together because I was like, if I keep dealing with things in this type of level of stress and always, I'm never going to do nothing like nothing I want to do in life. And I tell people all the time, if it wasn't for some of those moves I made, it would never be no Cypher City Hip Hop Festival, no none of the stuff I've ever did, no UP Live podcast, no nothing, because my brain with my bandwidth would have never got me out to do those type of things because I would have been stuck in a just sleep, work, and in that dark spot of not wanting because it's complacency and what makes you feel comfortable. But so when do we feel that it's getting to the point where we need to talk to a psychiatrist? But and I've did everything. I've talked to therapists. I've did that whole thing. Therapists are good. I love therapy because therapy is just somebody to talk to. And sometimes that's all we need is somebody to talk to. Most therapists, I'm gonna tell you, I swear, if man, look, because I'm trying to knock out a couple more degrees here. Therapy is might being a therapist and psychologist and all that stuff is something I might want to go after. It's because that's some good money. Because half the time, people think therapists and all that stuff is about, you know, not a therapist, therapy, yeah, therapy and psychologists and all that stuff. They think um they think that's about them giving you advice. Most therapy sessions and counseling sessions I've had, I just talk. Nobody never says nothing to me. You know, I love that, Kimberly. I love that. More degrees, you know. But most sessions I've went and sometimes it's all about that person's vibe, that therapist, what I mean, that psychologist, that vibe you're getting from that person that you're dealing with in the counseling session. And he's just a good person to talk to. But one thing I noticed because the first time I went for a session, I'm like, okay, I get to talk and sit on the couch and talk. And now that's real. You really do. You can lay on the couch, sit on the couch, get comfortable. But a lot of times, them sessions is time, and you ain't gonna be on there too long. So because they be on their clock. And but a lot of times when you're talking to them, they don't say nothing. They don't say nothing back. And one time, one did when he let me answer my own questions. He would say things like, "And well, what do you think the result was going to be with that?" And then I'd be like, "Well, I thought that." They'd be like, "Oh, okay." And then what do you think about? Next thing I know, I'm answering my own questions. I'm like, "So what I need you for? I'm my own." And then he just smiled, and that's what it be. And it's like that's a good, truthfully, that's a good therapist, right? You know, that is the one that lets you figure out your own problems because the main thing is we want somebody to listen. Our biggest thing when it comes to mental health, and as men and as women, but really as men, I can truly say that is when we feel like we aren't listened to, that is oh my gosh, that drives us crazy. Because that's what we harbor because we already feel we can't really say much. But the thing about it is when we do talk, you know, when we do talk, that's that's what it's when we do get to talking, that's what's helping us. You know what I mean? Us talking it out. Monstrosity. I've tried three different ones and never once did anything for me besides medicate and diagnose. Yeah, I finally stopped it and I just now go through the movements. I feel it, Jared. I feel it. Kimberly said they give you the tools, you still do the healing. That's right. And that's true because we have to do the healing. This is about us. We have to mentally do the healing. And I truly believe that. I think you gotta understand, like, I've had the best sessions you get is from your family, truthfully. You know, the best you get is from your family. Like my mother, I can call her, I can get free counseling sessions from her anytime. And she listens. And the thing about my mom too, also she knows me, so she say stuff back. She could say, well, maybe you need to do this and maybe you need to do that. Well, why don't you look at, and then also she gives me that healing and those words I need to hear. Uh Same thing with my wife. I remember one year my wife took me on my birthday. She was like, I was always good on my wife, like, I don't want to be in control all the time. I just want somebody else to have the playbook and the game plan. And so one year for my birthday, she was like, hey, we're going somewhere. And it was a lot from her because she truly, she's a passenger princess. She likes to just always enjoy the ride. So she actually put it all together. And she was like, we're going here and I'm not telling you where we're going. Well, this was on my birthday, so she had to get instruct directions and I'm just like, where are we going? And she's just driving. And then so finally we got to the place and it was an escape room in Ashland, Ohio. And it was just an escape room in Ashland, Ohio. And when when that happened, I was like, wow. And she was like, you know what? I had thought of something that you would love doing. And she was like, and she got it because I like to think it was something that involved thinking and constantly looking at things, and because that's how my mind, she knows how my mind works. And so when she picked that out, and I felt good because once she was nourishing my mind, and my wife is me and my wife. We sometimes we're yin and yang. I am the serious, complete serious. Nothing's like over calculating everything. And her, she just lets it flow and loves to smile and laugh and gets super emotional at little reels and videos every 5 seconds. She's either one or the other. But me, I am truly just a thinker, overthinker sometimes. And and so I mean, and so when she did that, that was really special. But you know, just diving back into to it all is just our biggest thing is knowing ourselves, not having, not trying to let's not submit and fully take on titles, right? Let's not give in to these titles and what they try to say. Um, Salute to my man Mastrossi on the beach. You know what I mean? Salute to Jerry Likens, man. Jerry Likens is a soldier. Jerry Likens is a trooper with so much. Ever since I've known him, he's dealt with so much battle, and he keeps going. He keeps going. And salute to him. And I'm glad I was able to just talk to this. And it's crazy because truthfully, it goes to show you, right? And here's the thing, and this is how God works, right? It takes some mental stuff to encounter where really you struggle going into that place to bring out stuff like this. Because let's just face it, when life is right for us, when life everything is cosmetically going good, we ain't got no mental health problems, right? Because everything's cosmetically going good. Just because things are cosmetically and materialistically and all that stuff on the surface look good and everything's good, don't mean we ain't struggling. Because we are. We just ain't, we ain't really in that dark place that we feel a need to be expressive about. One thing I could say, I've being in the music scene, right? I've every time I do a show, I reach out to all the artists. You know what I mean? Shout out to all the artists I get to work with from Mansfield and younger. And one thing about all of them is I've known them so long for a while that they come to me and like in complete straight up realness. Man, bro, you gotta get with me, man. I've been going through some stuff. This is going on, boop, 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 this is this, that, and the other. And the fact that I feel they can confine me with that stuff and let me know where they're at, because once again, they're also letting me know that the music, right? The music is what's keeping them going. And they struggle so much with so many other things from, they could have, kid issues, issues with jobs, careers, moving back and forth. And you know what I'm saying? And just trying to find the right thing. But all of it throughout, all going to all the music is what's keeping them mentally in the game. That's what's keeping them. And this and to have that platform and being able to share this with you guys, and I'm glad I'm on here being able to share with you guys, because I just had to, one thing about me I need people to understand is is I try to be as authentic as I can be. It's like all take it, all mask off, all there ain't no mask here. I try to be authentic as I can. You know what? Sometimes I think that part is tricky because people is always like, nah, it is. It ain't no mask. I ain't fronting. I ain't faking. This is me. You know, I've never the image right of I've never found a person that I need to, you know what I'm saying? Uh, I never thought it would just have to be able to have the expectation of how I look to other people to be super important. I just want to be originally me. You know, I just, it's just that's what it's about. I never like, how people was like, hey, oh, such and such, and there goes such and such right there. Hey, I want to make sure how do I, what I mean? Like super, it's like everybody, we all deal with things the same way. You know, uh, uh, I always tell people the biggest person I always wanted to impress was my granddad. That was my rock star. That was the one who I had to make sure I look a certain way in front of. That, you know what I mean? That I wanted him to see me in a good space. And because what he meant and what he said and what he thought of me mattered, you know, as well as my mother, you know, and my brother. These are, you know what I mean? These are all people like it matters, you know? Sometimes it would matter too much. In my younger days, their perception of what they thought of me was everything. And I took it so serious that I didn't have a mind of my own. Then when I kind of changed around the way things went in my life and had a attitude of this is what I'm a grown man and I'm gonna do what I do and I don't care who don't like it. Once I got to that place, it just kind of added a layer on to me. It wasn't nothing about me rebelling or nothing. It was just like this is where I need to be because at the end of the day, this is my life. So you won't have to like it, but the thing about it is, long as I choose to respect myself, and I think that's where the overall respect came because it's like, well, I can't sit here and say I disagree with Ryan's doing or whatever he's doing, but he's respecting himself, so I respect it. So what he's, you know what I mean? Like he ain't that dumb to not respect himself. So I know whatever Ryan's doing, he's going, he's respecting himself and why he's doing it. You know what I mean? So it's not a and that was just some of the steps I had to take. But like you said, right, Kimberly, music is a big outlet to heal. You got to understand. People understand. Um, don't be feeling right and be feeling in a certain mood. Turn some music on and watch how that mood just shifts. You ain't got no motivation to clean up your house. Watch how easily turning music on does. It's just music. And when you got it in you, it does something for your soul. You know what I mean? Just it does. It does. It's the music, it's the beats, it's the melodies. It does. And being a person that's about music and that's what life is about. I love it. You know what I mean? And it's always been my way when I have no way. Um, you know, but yeah, it's just the journey to keep I'm encouraging people to don't fall to these diagnoses. Um, you know how to know your vices, know the things that's going to help you get through things. Know what you can do. Know your triggers when it comes to your mental health, and know how to react. Um, and once again, like I said before, you got to get up out that bed. You know, get up out that bed. Today was a rainy morning, right? So I was just like, it was perfect to be like, oh, lay in the bed. And then it was like, no. But, it was some chill out. But then after a while, I was like, all right, get up. Because I get in my head, I ain't gonna lie. If I get to laying down and sleeping too much, I'd be like, something's wrong with me. Depressed. I gotta get out of this depression. I can't do it. You know, literally. Get up and do something. Get up out the bed. Take that shower. Get that water going. Move, move. Get the music playing. Do stuff. You know, work out. I literally have a whole workout gym in my basement that I got to get with my homie, and I got to get my stuff together down there, and it's so much I got to do. Big time procrastinator right here, but that's all a part of this whole process, right? Um, you know, but don't fall victim to things that stay out the dark. The best thing I can tell people, stay out the dark, because that's what the enemy wants, people. That's what the enemy wants for us to get in that dark place and cover that cloud over us. And that's when they got us. The enemy wants to win. You know, the enemy, the devil wants to win. He wants your life. Mental health for us is so strong. It's for us to keep balance, keep happy, keep that balance in our life. So, going back to the question, what does happiness look like? Happiness is all in the balance. You know, it's not an action. It's not an action. I can't say happiness is an action, because you know how many. If happiness is an action, we can fake happiness every day. We got some good actors. We could be good actors. You know, it's a real emotion, and it's a real feeling, and it's a real outlook. And I think the best thing about happiness is once we know what makes us happy and how to be happy, that's when we got it. Long as we know what makes us happy and how to be happy and how to stay happy, how to have happiness. Because sometimes it's not going to be when that promotion comes. Yes, instant happiness. When that job offer comes, instant happiness. You know, what about when that promotion doesn't come? What about when that job doesn't come or that job goes away? Like, where's that happiness coming from now? You know, that's why we got to know what makes us happy and how to stay happy, regardless of what. Regardless of what, we got to know what is going to make us happy and how do we stay happy. And once again, spiritual person, you got to keep God in the equation somewhere. You got to keep him somewhere. He's got to be there. because trust me, I've been through some dark times and I've got out of some dark spaces, and it's been because of prayer. It's been nothing else. It's been prayer and having a great support system. That's how, at the stage I'm at now, and being able to talk out what I'm going through, and the stages is been a help also, and having a good support system and a good platform to be who I want to be, because I know it's so much bigger. This what I have the capability of doing, I know, but I haven't peeled back all the layers and just completely let myself loose. And that's right now through this phase, that's what I'm learning to do, because myself, I feel I'm an entity of so much that I can be for so many myself. I just gotta embrace that and let it happen and be that. And yeah. But you know what I'm saying? I'm glad y'all chopped it up with me tonight, man. On that note, man, I've been Ryan James. Been UPNO Live. Let's Talk edition, talking a little bit more about mental health. Thanks for everybody jumping on the chat. And I'll get with you guys in a minute. All right. Peace.
Walk with me. The way I carry this weight graceful is so different. Cause my path and your path is so different. And they ain't never the same things, it's so shifting. Gotta adjust so much, feel like I'm cold shifting. When you ain't gaining no ground, the pain ain't around. It's only when you trying to be great, they tearing you down. Got a hindsight of these snakes, they properly found. And I ain't boxing in the dirt with you. I let that metal get a hearse for you. I'm condescending, got a verse for you. Whatever it takes, I display the world through you. Ain't got enough time to explain the world to you. All I can do is make your skin tougher. Gonna be some hard times, cause men struggle. Especially when you trying to move, the devil send for you. That's why I always play the groove, but I ain't dance for you. I keep both of my hands clean, I put a band on. I season beef before I cook while I stand over. Your poker face telling it all, yeah, the scam's over. And I ain't never been victimized, so I can't coach you through a victim's eyes. All I can show you is my village planted seeds, then it grew, now I visualize. So the struggles I go through, it ain't a curse, it's a gift from God. And I've been grateful with having nothing and I'm still alive. If I ain't never told the truth, I guess it's just a lie. If I ain't never told the truth, I guess it's just a lie. I guess I'm made for this grit, but shit is still a lie. And I can't give you the whole thing, I conceal a lot. I put these glasses on in the storm, it revealed the plot. And show my enemies from afar like I'm at the dock. I know it's deeper than you thought, but what ocean is not. If I ain't never told the truth, I guess it's just a lie. If I ain't never told the truth, I guess it's just a lie.